Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this Athenian Stranger tutorial video where today we are going to look at parallel and perpendicular lines and how to graph lines passing through certain points that are either parallel or perpendicular to an original equation. So let's take a look at the directions here, give those a read for just a moment. Okay, so for these questions that we're going to do, in the first example here that I'll work for you, number 5. Remember on your bubble sheet, this is number 5, so I'm going to give this one to you, but you still have to show the work. We want to create an equation of a line passing through 4, 0 that's parallel to this equation right here. The first thing I want to do is graph this equation right here so you can see what it looks like on a coordinate plane. So we have y equals 1/4 x minus 4. Down here on the coordinate plane, I'll start at -4. So I'll do it in blue. And I'll put a dot. And it was 1/4 x minus 4. So I'll go up 1 over 4. Up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my second point. And now I'll draw a line passing through those 2 points. Okay. So I'm going to find a line that's parallel to this line, but it's got to pass through 4, 0. So how will I accomplish that? Well, I'm going to use the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m, x minus x1. So what is my y1 and what is my x1? Well, 4, 0 is what we're going to be labeling here. So this will be x1 for 4 and then y1 for 0. So if I'm going to plug this into my equation, I have y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. What's my m? So I know my x1 and my y1. What's my m? Well, you have to think about a parallel equation. Now, this word parallel is the hint that whatever my equation is going to look like, its slope is going to be identical to the slope that I'm given in the original equation. So the slope that I'm given in the original equation is 1 over 4. So the slope of my parallel line will also be 1 over 4. So that's going to be m. And that's the way it'll be for all the parallel problems. So now I'm just going to plug in all the 3 things that I have. So I'll write y minus y1, which is 0, equals m, which is 1/4, open parentheses, x minus x1, which is 4. Okay, now I have to perform the distributive property here. Distribute that 1/4. So I have y minus 0, well, that's just y, equals 1/4 x. Okay, now I have to multiply 1/4 times -4. Well, over here in side work, 1/4 times -4 over 1. That is going to equal -4 over 4, which is just -1. So that'd be 1/4 x minus 1. So this is the equation I need to plot. So this one I would put this in a box so that I know that you were able to find the equation. And we'll go down and graph this. I'll go to -1 on the y-axis and put a dot and use the same slope, 1/4, rise 1, run 4. Oops. So up 1/4, up 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll draw a parallel line, what I hope is a parallel line. Okay, and there we go. Now I'd very much like you to label these two lines. This line in red would be y equals 1/4 x minus 1. And the blue line, which was our original line, is y equals 1/4 x minus 4. Okay, the only difference between these two lines is that one of them has a y-intercept of -4, the other one has a y-intercept of -1. Otherwise, they have an identical slope. So the answer to my question on the bubble sheet will be 1/4 x minus 1, which would be D. And that's how you'll do all of these parallel line questions. If you see later in the problem, you have number 7, and in number 7, you're given the equations that you're given as answer choices are in standard form. So when you find out what your equation is, you will have to solve for y and get that equation in slope-intercept form and then graph it. Okay. In number 8, you have a strange equation, and I want you to try to work this one. This is a brain teaser, but this is the kind of question that will come up on STAR. So I want you to work through the problem on number 8 and think about what parallel to x equals 0 looks like. Okay, that was parallel. Now we'll do perpendicular. So remember, perpendicular lines have a slope that's negative reciprocal of the slope that you're given. So here in number 9, which I'll work, you are asked to find an equation perpendicular to y equals -1/7 x plus 1. So first thing I'm going to do is graph this equation. That was -1/7 x plus 1. So down on my graph paper, I will plot in 1 on the y-axis, and then I'll go down 1 over 7. So down 1 over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so here's my original equation graphed. Okay. Now, I've got to find an equation that's perpendicular to this equation that passes through these points. So I know that my x1 is -1 and my y1 is -5. But what is my slope? Well, my original slope, maybe we'll do some side work over here. If m, the original slope, equals -1 over 7, what's the negative reciprocal of that? And remember, the negative reciprocal, we write m to the -1. So that's the negative reciprocal slope will be the negative reciprocal of -1 over 7. So remember, we start with these fractions, we flip the fraction. So I have -7 over 1, and then I add a negative sign in front of it. So I have negative 7 over 1. Those two come together to be positive. So the slope that I'll be using here is 7. Rise 7, run 1. I need this equation to pass through -1 comma -5. So this is where I will use the point slope formula. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So let's plug in what we have. We have now our slope, which is going to be 7. We have our x1 and y1. So y minus y1, which would be y minus -5, equals m, which in this case I'm going to use m to the -1, which is the perpendicular slope, 7, open parentheses, x minus x1, which would be x minus -1. Okay, so we can clean this up a little bit. We have y plus 5, because these two come together to make a positive, equals 7, open parentheses, x minus -1, which would be x plus 1. Now I have to distribute this 7. So I have y plus 5 equals 7x plus 7. My last step is to subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, this is 0 and this is 2. So my final perpendicular equation is y equals 7x plus 2. So this goes in a box. And I'm going to graph this as well and make sure that it forms a 90-degree angle with my blue equation. So 7x plus 2, I'll start at 2 on the y-axis, which would be right here. And then I'm going to go up 7 over 1, because the slope is 7. So it's up 7, rise 7, run 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 over 1. Connect these two dots. Okay, so there's my perpendicular equation graphed. This is y equals 7x plus 2. My original equation was y equals -1/7 x plus 1. Okay, and now just to check, bring in the protractor, and we see that these equations are indeed perpendicular because their graphs are at 90 degrees to one another. There is a right angle relationship here between these two lines. So that's how you do the perpendicular equations. On the final two equations that you'll do perpendicular for, you have to find the equation in standard form. Okay, so what that means is when you finally figure out your equation, you can either turn that equation into an equation in standard form and you'll find your answer, or you can test these answers by turning each of these answer choices into a slope-intercept form equation, and then it will match the one that you found. Okay, so if you want to know how to turn an equation into standard form, I'll just quickly show that, since I imagine there'd be some confusion. Let's just take this for example. This is on number 11. This is the equation we were given. So this is not an answer choice. Y equals 5x plus 4. If I want to turn this into an equation in standard form, I need it to look like ax plus by equals c. So the first thing I need to do is move this 5x over to the left side of the equation. So I have negative 5x plus y equals 4. Now in standard form notation, we don't want the leading coefficient to be a negative number. So I would have to multiply the entire equation by negative 1 in order to get rid of that negative sign. So I would have 5x minus y equals negative 4. And this would be the standard form equation of this equation. These two things are identical. This is in slope-intercept form. This is in standard form. You can always get back to slope-intercept form from standard if you're trying to do that by simply doing the reverse process. Subtract 5x from both sides. You have negative y equals negative 5x minus 4. Okay, multiply through the entire equation by negative 1. And you have y equals 5x plus 4, okay, which matches the original. All right, so dirty scratch work there just to show you what that looks like. I think I forgot to circle the correct answer on this problem. On number 9, my perpendicular equation is 7x plus 2, which would be C. Okay, so that is the tutorial for this video, and I hope you found this useful. If you did, please give the video a like, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment if you have a question. Comments boost the rank of the video, it boosts engagement, so we want to do that. If you have not already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you are always alerted to new videos on this channel. Thanks.